Fakia.
Hello,
All right.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Good
Mhm.
morning. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Iftikhar Saab. Good morning, Umar. Good morning, Fakia. Those who are with their cameras on or off. Hi, Faiza. So, it's a
Assalamualaikum.
very good morning here in Pakistan, and I am so glad that we are joined by uh, very, very senior Iftikhar Nadeem Saab, who is an MCC and also a Pakistani. So that's something that's delightful for all of us because that gives us a lot of pathway to see one of our own making it so big. Iftikhar Saab has been part of this entire coaching fraternity for a long, long time. He holds a PhD in development psychology. And as I said, he's an MCC from ICF. He has coached more than 600 top leaders in 24 countries, with many of them coming in Saudi, UAE, in US. If Zahar was just mentioning that, he was coaching some people with the World Bank or IMF some 10 years ago. So, he's a veteran and he's been around and there's a lot to learn from him, both within this conversation that we're going to do and after this as well, inshallah. He has worked with organizations and who's coached in organizations that come with technology sector, financial services, energy, FMCG, government services, and so on. So, Iftikhar Sahab, welcome.
Yeah, thank you,
It's a
Adnan.
pleasure.
And Assalamu alaikum to all of you. And a very good morning. It's still morning in Pakistan. I'm in Saudi Arabia, Dhahran today. It's 9 a.m. over here. It's a Friday morning for me, which is like, off day in Saudi. Friday, Saturday is a weekend over here. But I'm used to it, so don't worry. And I'm early riser, so no problem. And let me ask you this. What are you most grateful for today? If you want to say or put it in the chat box or somewhere, what are you most grateful for today, this morning?
जी फायदा
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम
Yeah,
everyone.
health, life, health, yeah.
To be alive, sir, and
Mhm.
to have alhamdulillah, the best of everything that Allah has given me. In fact, I was very grateful in the morning today.
Mhm.
Ji.
Somebody is being alive and surrounded by people who love. Okay, nice. Yeah.
Iftikhar Saab, it is so good to see you. And of course,
Thank
grateful.
you.
I mean, it's a new day. So, Allah ka bada karam hai. That's how it is.
Good.
just having the feel that we are grateful, that is even a grateful thing also. That we can be grateful.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So grateful for the new day and health. Yeah. So health is becoming very important.
Hmm.
So it is foundational. Okay, great. So I just want to, have that, because when we are grateful, we don't complain or, go to negative energy. So just to have a positive, kick. So today, I don't have a presentation, by the way. We'll just do a conversation, if you like, So, because if I do presentations, I have all this material, but I thought let's do conversation, and it's more engaging, probably. So, there's something maybe you heard about evidence-based coaching, and evidence-based coaching is when you have when you're marrying practice and knowledge, By knowledge, I mean scientific knowledge, by the way. It comes from science, and that's where the theory is relevant, because theory means there's something has been researched on or, tested over a longer period. And every time it gives you same results, so input gives you some output, which is predictable, otherwise it's not theory, otherwise it's not science, if it does not give you that. So theories are again tested, retested sometime, but once they become theory, they are then science, that's knowledge I'm referring to. So practice itself, like ICF coaching competency model is practitioner's model. That has, by the way, its criticism comes on that model is because it's a practitioner. It's a competency based. So if you are not demonstrating it, it means you don't have it. So this is how even in ICF exams or whatever you do, if you don't demonstrate in a recording, let's say, of a session, that means you don't know, right? So they fail you, in fact. So, but it does not mean you don't know, right? So, and I have written a paper, in fact, a journal article in there's the International Journal of Evidence-Based Coaching, where I criticized ICF while I was in ICF board myself, So then I was hiding from ICF people, that what if they read my, and they say, what are you doing, dude? So you are one of us. And one day they read it and then they discussed about it also. So, but they agree, that what I was saying is right. So evidence is knowledge and scientific knowledge and practice, but both have value, So I know many people who are coaching researchers, but they have never coached, and they are okay with that. They're saying, yeah, we don't coach, but we are doing research, like any other research. So we are researchers, so which is fine. So, but I have been researcher as my PhD and otherwise on coaching and practitioner, as you know, at the same time. So, so I have learned something which I will, I think, share, and maybe we'll do in a group coaching, model today to learn something which you want to learn, right? You're all here to learn something. So so evidence-based coaching is what I was setting the stage for. That's what I'm going into. So we use science also. A lot of it comes from psychology, sociology, and developmental psychology, which is very close to social science. So we know coaching also. What is coaching? There is an ICF definition. I don't know if any one of you have a different definition for coaching. Have you formed your own definition for coaching? That is useful sometimes.
Nadeem Saab, there's
Yes,
a lot
Adnan?
of, I'm sorry, can I?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a lot of different interpretations of the coaching, but what I've realized, and I'm studying for the US board for coaching, that they're very similar in words and the thought process. So I haven't come across any theoretical model that defines coaching in a different way from what ICF or the US board or so many other institutes have put forward at this point in time.
Okay. Adnan?
So I have a simple, I won't call it a definition, but I have a very simple thing when I teach my students. It's helping, not even helping, it's supporting the client's journey from being unstuck to from being stuck to unstuck. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So you assume they're stuck always, right? So yeah.
Yes.
All right. So anyone? Yeah, there are many. Okay. Kiran?
Okay, so for me personally, I question the word coaching essentially. Because
Okay.
the English language definition of coaching is very different. And we have to start from scratch with people say, okay, yes, but we're not going to tell you what to do, and we're not going to help you, and we are just here to be a sounding board. There is something that I question about the word to begin with. Like, now that's the word, that's the word. But it does bring its own like set of issues in that department, because the word is not the word as per the English language, you know. So this
Mhm.
does bring a whole new like set of issues, which I mean, I wish we could just like get rid of, but now
Do
it's
you have
called coaching.
alternate
What
word?
can
Do
we
you have
do?
any alternate word to use? Because
Not at the
Arabic
moment.
language, by the way, they are also struggling. They still could not find the right word in Arabic to
No, honestly, I
translate.
don't know. I was hoping someone would
Mhm.
help.
Okay. Okay. So I will take one more. Samina, you want to add something?
I think Fakia had wanted to speak, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. So for me, I mean, I think so. And I was a kid and I really like the thought which you have shared here as well. So for me, simply and that's how I kind of share it with others as well, and kind of made sense to me as well, that it's just like there is water and the water has a lot of potential in it, and that potential is there. All what we need to do, the coaching, the processes, when that potential is turned into, like the kinetic energy. That's it. From that, creating those little ripples of energy, which can get you into action and, make you realize and your goals and all. It's a very, very simple way for me to look at it.
Mhm. Excellent. Have you changed your definition over time, or it's you're sticking to this one for a long time? Fakha?
Oh, yeah. I still sticking to it.
Okay. Good. Good. Unless you know something.
Yeah, maybe
Yes,
with
of.
time I learn more, and then I
Okay.
mean, I could explore
Yeah.
the further depths of my own understanding as well.
Mhm.
But so far, it kind of seems very holistic to me.
Okay, very good. So, Smina, you want to add, or we continue otherwise, if you have anything quickly?
Yeah, I was just typing on the
Yeah.
chat. Thank you for giving me the space.
Yeah.
So for me, coaching is about looking at life with a different perspective. As a person is, so they see, and what they see and how they see shapes who they become.
Mhm. Okay, great. All good, by the way. That's what I wanted to hear, that we the way we see it, we all see things the way we have our past experiences or learning experiences we go through, and we see this is how it looks like to me, which is good to have, by the way. That's what I was saying. Have you formed your own definition? Because quite often we have to explain to people, right? This is how we start with. There are so many people say, okay, tell me what is coaching, in the first session or before they even sign up. They like to know, what is coaching, tell me, So we need to tell them, explain them in a way that they agree or they find value in it. That's what matters. So my definition, if you want to hear, uh, is that coaching, a coach, let's say, facilitates learning, or we can use accelerate learning sometime for our clients for a purpose and in a structured conversation, not any conversation. It has a structure, the coaching conversation has a structure, it has a beginning, middle, end, something, we take people towards something. So we don't push them. They go at their own speed, by the way, but still there is something, we move them. And so it's a conversation for learning, in short, some new learning, the new insights we call, they have aha moments, whatever, that's a learning. In fact, they learn something new, which they cannot unlearn. Sometimes unlearning could be the objective of learning, by the way, also, because they are holding on to something, assumptions, perspective, their beliefs, whatever. They have to unlearn those things to move on. So that's very transformative learning. So we will discuss maybe those also. So that's there with that definition. The word learning I'm using now because it facilitates learning of our clients. And so that's where then how do we learn? Quite often our even clients, by the way, will tell, oh, I don't know, right? You hear from them in their discussions or sessions, I don't know, right? They say, I don't know, So usually I ask them questions. So how true is that you don't know, you know? So they will tell you, sometimes they will say, yeah, I know a little bit, you know, that means either I don't want to share or I don't have a clarity. I know something, but I don't know everything, you know, so that can trigger another, you know, discussion. But the other question could be that what do you do when you don't know something, you know? So what do you do when you don't know something? So then the discussion become more interesting. So, okay, so I do this, I do that, I do research, I call somebody, you know, and because a lot of things we don't know. And even in our ICF board, I used to you ask this question, you know, they will say, we don't know how to do this. So I will say, what do we do when we don't know something, you know? So then they will say, okay, let's do research, hire a consultant, do something, you know, about it. So so if we don't know and we would like to know, right? Like today, you are here to know or learn, you know, about you know, maybe science of coaching a little bit through learning theories or something. So what would you do? What could be structure in your head if you think anyone here that you can know after that?
Sorry, please come again.
Yeah. What comes to your mind that if you want to learn something but you don't know, and you are here today, what can we do to learn that? So we talk about
One would
learning
probably
theories,
ask,
role of learning theories in coaching, right? That's what we are discussing. Yeah.
I think that's what you do with your clients also. You put them into deep thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to
Think,
think about it.
explore, share, observe.
Mhm. Listen actively. Khatija is saying, listen actively. Yeah, of course. Yes. So I'm listening to the silence. So let me share then what can we do today. So let's have a 3-stage structure, you know, to learn this, you know. One is, what are the learning theories? So you have to know, right? What are the learning theories? Because that's what you want to use. So you want to learn that science. What are those theories? How relevant they are to coaching, etc. But what are those theories? You know. Second could be, what's your learning style? Your learning style today, or the learning style of your clients. So if a coach facilitates learning, how good it would be if you know the learning style of your client. Would that be a useful thing? If you know how people learn, you know, especially your client A, B, C, you know, different clients you have, if you know how do they learn, would it be easy for you? Would it be useful for you? Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so that's the next thing we can do. And then how then we integrate this all knowledge into coaching practice, right? Sessions, you know, dialogic discussions, whatever we do, conversations. So our first thing is knowing the learning theories, right? So there are, by the way, a lot of learning theories, you know, it's never ending kind of. But if you group them in domains, there are 4 domains of learning theories. So first one is adult learning theories. You know, adult learning, you know, is the largest set of theories. In fact, all the Maslow's and Carl Roger and, you know, experiential learning, David Cobb, David Shawn, all of those are in learning theory. You know, guys. So, and it has a lot of relevance to coaching also. We'll talk about that later, but these are the first one. Domains in the first domain is learning, adult learning. Second domain is transformative learning theories. Transformative learning, you know, because coaching, as we know, a lot of coaching, even companies, their names are transformative coaching, right? So it's transformation has been there, you know, in coaching keyword, you know, for a long time. So transformative learning theories have their own domain. It's a very, very well established. The third is intercultural learning also. So I'll explain each one of them, by the way. I'm just listing them. So fourth is social learning. Coaching itself is a social discourse, right? There are two people, at least two, or in team coaching, group coaching, there could be more, but at least two people are talking to each other, right? So it's a social discourse in any way. So social learning theory explains a lot about what happens in a coaching session or what can happen. Now, uses of these learning theories are in two ways. One is the coaching models, you know. So most of coaching models are built on some theory, right? So there could be somebody came up with his own without the theory also, but the good models, even Grow or whatever traditionally has been, they are all based on some theory, by the way, you know. So there are learning theories are used to basically build a coaching model, you know, or a coaching process, coaching framework, you know, it's the same thing, you know, whatever it is, you know. So that's where their uses come also. So coaches, if they want to build their model, their own, you know, I'm not recommending having a model, but if they want to, you know, so they can, they have to learn some science behind it. Why this? So that they have a more predictable, you know, scientific outcomes, you know. So every time it works, it's a reliable model. That means it works every time, you know. So if you go back to adult learning theories, so I have a few notes, by the way, I will look at. I have not memorized everything. So I will pick two. There are many, by the way, but I'll just picking two. My favorite one. The David Shawn is one who talks about reflection in action. His theory is reflection in action. And it actually is very useful to overcome resistance to learning. Resistance to learning. You know, a lot of people, our clients, by the way, especially the smart ones, you know, the MIT, you know, PhDs, the CEOs, I meet many of them. They don't want to change. They think they are successful. They know everything, you know, so they are smart. They have proven. So, so they don't want to change. So they have a resistance to new learning also. So how this theory, David Shawn's theory, helps is reflection and action. That means you ask them to experiment something new because they are not even willing to experiment something new, right? So you ask them to experiment, and during that, we expect they will learn something new, you know. So that's where reflection and action theory supports. It has a lot of details, but I'm just touching the surface here. That reflection and action, when people have resistance to learn, it helps a lot, you know. And second, I will pick David Cobb because that's one of the, you know, biggest influence. He built his work, by the way, on others' work, but still ELT, they call experiential learning theory. And David Cobb has also come up with a very well-structured LSI, which is learning style inventory, the questionnaire you may use to know the learning style of your clients, you know, and you may know your own, but your clients, you know, how do they learn, you know? And I have done some research on academic leaders also, and a couple of my papers are published on that. So I found out their disciplinary background influences them a lot, how they learn, you know. By disciplinary background, I mean a professor of physics versus professor of engineering versus professor of business administration, you know, or social scientist. They learn quite differently, you know. And they are very much influenced because I'm a professor for 30 years of engineering. You know, I'm now influenced with that way of learning and teaching. You know, teaching is also a way of learning, by the way. So it influences them a lot. So I like those diagrams. I'm a visual learner, even though I was not a visual learner, but I have become a visual learner now. So I like frameworks. I like scientific things. I like cause and effect. I want to see that relation, numbers. So it influences people, and your work environment, your disciplinary background. So specifically, I was looking at disciplinary background, how it influences their learning style. So if you are talking to such people and you are telling them stories, and abstract things, you think that coaching session will be very effective? No, chances are it will not. At least you can stress them out. It won't be their comfort zone. So we have to keep people in comfort zone, right? What how they learn naturally. So it's just like MBTI data tells you, the personality type. It's very similar. LSI, learning style inventory, is very similar to MBTI. And if MBTI is useful, which we all know, and coaches are using it, so then learning style inventory is very, very powerful, in fact, also. It takes little extra effort to do it. And people are, and especially in industry, business, organizational coaching, they value it a lot, and senior people value, like CEOs I see everywhere, they value data more than anybody else, right? So that's where they also value assessments, scientific things, you bring it to them, so they like that very much. So David Cobb's learning that results from combination of grasping and transforming experiences. So is experiential learning. So he has this cycle of 4 stages, which he think, and he also talks about, very interesting, that learning is conflictual and tension filled thing. It's a tension filled. So sometimes you are in a you don't know what is true. That's a tension. So that creates knowledge then, so because you are creating knowledge. And so in a coaching session, who you think is a learner?
I think to some extent both are learning at this point.
Yes, that's true. So both are learners, and and a client or coachee, if you want to call, or coach, both are learners. Yes. So they are both, coach is also constantly learning what works here, what should be my next question, where things are going. So, and the client obviously is generating new insights, but coach is also upgrading his own or her own, knowledge or what works. One more, if I can mention, and person, Carl Roger, learning is efficient when there is no threat to the self of the client, So self, which is psychology, self of a person. When self is not threatened, learning is very efficient, he claims. His theory, is about that. So, because his theory is about whole person, if you know BetterUp, which is one of the, global platform now for coaching, so their whole model is whole person based model, So I used to coach maybe 6-7 years ago for BetterUp, Google and other leaders. So whole person model is what they will teach us, whole person model first. That was Carl Rogers' theory based actually model, that people are whole, they're not partly, at work or home, or, you are everything, everywhere, So their assessments, their everything they introduced was based on Carl Rogers' work, in fact. So that's adult learning theories. And next is transformative learning theories. So it has also many, but I want to pick Jack Mazzero. Jack Mazzero died recently. He was professor at Columbia University in New York. So he has done a lot of research, and he was in Teachers College, where coaching center is also in the same college. So he believes when shifts happen, one of the shifts happen in people when you move from childhood to adulthood, let's say. So you become self-directional, self-directional more, because otherwise you are dependent, right? Parents, teachers will tell you what to do and you will do that, right? So you are dependent, but then you become self-dependent, self-directional. So that's a transformative stage people go through. So, but then shifts happen in beliefs, values, principles, assumptions, So, and so we can use multiple theories in one, by the way, situation sometime. Person has a strong assumption because something happened one time in her life, and now she is sticking to it. This is how life is, and I know many people, they're not driving anymore because they had one accident in life, one small accident, I tell you. And now they're not driving, they think it would happen again or, whatever. So they're living with that reality. And so to overcome resistance, we can use one theory, like David shown. And we can also use transformative to change that assumption or belief they are holding on to, and by obviously reflective inquiry or asking questions, how is it serving you or, costing you or whatever, it's their choice. They have to, do it. But so Jack Mazziro's transformative learning theories is very, very useful. I want to ask you also, have you done transformative coaching work? Any example you want to bring in? You think, yeah, it makes sense what this theory says? Omar, you are opening the mic.
I think I have experienced it on myself, in fact. And not in any coaching session, but yes, these are the things which I teach otherwise, and perhaps in my own life I have experienced that transformation over time. I mean, that's helped me. Nayyar Saab also has something to say, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I have just wanted to share that I did not get the opportunity to read Jack Mazzero, but transformational coaching works, yes, and I have seen transformation in myself. I have had a coach for more than 10 years, and my coach is based in the US, and I've been coaching for some time, and I've seen lately there was a family that I had the opportunity to coach where there were both the parents and two young boys, university going boys, were there as the entire family. And I've seen transformation, so amazing difference in the relationship between the parents and the children. So yes, transformation happens. It does work. Just wanted to share.
Is there anyone in the room who did not feel that transformation as a result of learning coaching? Learning about coaching. I'm sure you are not by birth coaches. You learned at some stage. So did you feel, or who did not feel? I want to know maybe more, because I'm assuming everybody does. So who did not feel or something so far?
I think that's the very essence of it, primarily. I mean, it's not the scale of the shift or the transformation, but yeah, it does move.
So what kind of transformation was it? What transformed?
Okay. So the thing is that even in the coaching sessions as well, I think so if there is no kind of transformation, in terms of behavior or in terms of maybe thinking or in terms of maybe outcomes and all that, it could be soft, it could be hard, but then the efficacy is in question. So, I mean, even if I talk about myself, so I had no idea about coaching and, like the same thing in terms of knowledge as well and in terms of me approaching things. So, yeah, there were lots of things which changed, which I had to open and kind of change within me as well. And in any coaching session, I think so transformation is the, kind of the main outcome which we celebrate.
Okay,
Pratap, does that answer the question?
Yeah, you did. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. Or Samia.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 minute. Sorry. I'm just sorry about this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see me now? Okay.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I feel like in a coaching session, I felt that a few times when I opened up and shared my vulnerability, the coachee felt a little bit more comfortable in opening up and sharing their vulnerability. And then that aided the transformation process.
Excellent. So yeah, that happens. So you become better listener, right? You are less judgmental. So all of that is also transformation. Then you have to obviously practice it, scale it up a little bit. But this is how it starts, and slowly it becomes part of your second nature or something.
Well, I think in me, I felt after this that it's the critical thinking or perhaps the analytical thinking also improved.
Yeah, you start looking at language. My biggest change have been when people talk to me, the words they use. I pick. And this is my second nature now. I will pick those words, and ask them to change those words. Words obviously have energy and everything behind it, but the words is where, and I will go, what they're saying, and when you're writing or saying something. So words are very, very important, Okay, transformative learning. Then intercultural learning is another domain. And I have picked three researchers, or let's say theorists. One is Ting Toomey, and they talk about identity, because identity is also very important in coaching, right? The self-image, what we call, that is shaped by culture quite often, by the way, the culture we live in. You will see the people living in Scandinavia have different self-image than living in, third world countries or other countries. So this theory is more about identity, which is shaped by culture, And there's another called Marshall Singer. So he says all interpersonal interactions are actually, or communication, are intercultural communications, all interpersonal, So he believes every person has a unique culture, or a unique, obviously people are unique, but it's an intercultural communication, all interpersonal communications are, so Adler is also, he called multicultural man, even he says man, for example, when people change from one country to other, so you are living in Canada for 20 years, you moved from Pakistan, and slowly you start adopting some local, cultural things also. You keep some of your own, food and others, but you also adopt to lot of new things, So it's a multicultural man theory he came up with, that man is also multicultural, So culture, we see that, by the way, quite often in coaching conversations when, for example, I used to hire coaches also, I still do. So when I'll bring coaches from London to Saudi, and they will interact with local leaders, so there would be clear cultural differences, and language. For example, I have a privilege of using with a Saudi person or a UAE tawakkul, when I use that, they really link to it, connect to it, and they want to talk about it. Yeah, I'm very low. So I will ask you a scaling question, where is your tawakkul now, 1 to 10 scale? They say, oh my God, it's 3, out of 10. So they will laugh, and then they will think, yeah, this is what I need to change, So it's very transformative discussion for them when you link to their roots, their values, their, So, but the guy from London, if he's doesn't know all this, I mean, not everybody doesn't know. So they cannot do this kind of conversation with these people, So that's where cultural understanding of people helps. So the last domain is social domain. So in social, we learn by observing other people, role modeling, for example, is one, So I wonder if you want to share anything you have learned by role modeling someone, Role modeling is also coaching technique, by the way, So, and there's some behavior. When I talk to people, one way in my first sessions, for example, I want to know them, right? So rather than knowing them directly, I will like to know them indirectly, that who are your heroes in life? Who are the people you really role model? Because when they say this, they are actually talking about themselves, right? What they like, what they aspire to be, or what are they inspired by those behaviors. So then I will ask them, if you say, I like Nelson Mandela, so what do you like about Nelson Mandela? So they will say, oh, the freedom struggle he had, and all of that. Okay, that means they value freedom in life, and struggle, maybe whatever they like. So this is how we know people, and so by observing others, role modeling, So have you learned something? Anyone want to share by role modeling other people?
I think I think to a great extent, all of us as humans have some concept in mind of our ideal self, and often at times we look for a role model to embody those characteristics we think we want to assimilate within ourselves. I think throughout life, there could be different concepts of these role models or different figures that fit that model we are looking at or looking for. So I think there have been lots of instances when, yes, you see somebody, for example, speaking very eloquently at a conference, and you say, oh my God, this is the kind of person I want to become or want to be and present myself in the same manner. So I think, yes, different facets of different personalities you want to embody within yourself and take it forward as you move or mature.
So we see through others who we want to become, right? We can, when we see a demonstration of that in other people or something, yes. Yeah. Good. So there's a guy called Vygotsky. He came up with theory called ZPD, a zone of proximal distance or something, I think ZPD. So, which means basically that there is a distance between what we can do independently or dependently, So, so what is that when we, when we are dependent on other people, or even adults are dependent sometime, by the way, or when we do independently. So we learn more when we do independent, right? So coaching itself is very non-directive, where we let people give autonomy to our clients, to decide, to learn, to do when to do, when not to do, etc. So, so ZPD, I feel, is also very good social learning. So social learning itself is very, very coaching itself, as I said, is a social discourse, a social setting where one person talks to others. I personally feel I cannot reflect, to be honest, myself, self-reflection, if you want to call it. Some people, maybe they're good at. Maybe I'm extrovert, so I cannot. But in meetings, I reflect so much, and it stimulates me, the meeting, when there are other people around. I knew this before I knew coaching even, that if there's a meeting, oh my, all the knowledge will come to me. Otherwise, it won't, So in coaching, there is somebody's there and asking you, and that triggers, if there's a good question, obviously, in the moment. So social learning, which coaching itself is a social learning. So these are 4 domains and different theories. There's so many. Frankly, I'm just triggering a discussion today that there is something called learning theories and evidence-based coaching. And if you want to deepen or your coaching practice with more science, make it evidence-based, yeah, there is a option to go to, and to know people more, and so that's one thing. Second, I said learning style inventory. So there is a assessment questionnaire. You can go online, it's available. So it actually helps us to know, are we visual learning, auditory learner? Are we learning by watching? Are we learning by doing? So who are we? And if we or our clients, especially if our clients, we know how do they learn. I mentioned disciplinary background, for example, engineers or doctors or other people, they learn differently. Artists will learn differently. They're more creative. They want to have a concept only. And so all that would help to have a more effective coaching session, and then how to integrate into coaching in the moment, when you do it. So assessments are always there, not only LSI, but other assessments, and leadership, or how people think about you, the blind spots, it brings in. People are more, you bring them to their comfort zone. They're aligned to their strengths, and when we do all this, so where they are good at. So all that helps in coaching. So I think I'll stop here. If you, I have 10 minutes. If any questions come, Omar or Adnan or anyone. So I'm here to answer.
Yes, I think. Please go ahead. Ji, Romana.
Just a quick question for you, Iftikhar Saab.
Yeah.
Gee, out of all the learning theories that we talked about, and obviously there are a lot more, and they have to be attuned to the client's preferences. So
Romana, we can't hear you properly.
the process.
Romana, your voice is broken down. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I think we're stuck somewhere.
Ji,
Yeah,
your voice.
you clear now. Can you repeat your question, please?
Gee, the question was that
Okay, it
the
gets
first
stuck the
step,
moment you ask your
therefore,
question.
in an assessment. I should stop then, right?
जब आप
You want to
हंसी तो
type
आपकी
in.
हंसी बड़ी अच्छे तरीके से आ गई, लेकिन आपका सवाल नहीं पहुंच पाया हम तक.
And
So
so
we
can
love the
you hear
laughter,
me
but the
now?
question, yeah, we can.
Okay. So the question was that in talking to a client, as early as possible, you want to understand what their learning style is and then adapt a theory to that.
Yeah, it's good to learn more about them, how they learn, and what are their preferences, strengths. We do all kind of earlier, if not first session, maybe second, but sooner the better, obviously.
And is there a special or is it a theory that is others?
What's the question? I maybe didn't get fully.
The question was, is there a theory that is closer to your heart, which you have used more frequently and found over and above the other theories that we talked about just now?
Yeah, it's not one. There are maybe 2, 3. So, and depend on the client I have, frankly. There are clients who are very like scientist-minded people I meet, so they had a background in engineering or science or whatever, and Ramco VPs are mostly like that, if you ask. So I will go with David Kopp's theory, adult learning theory. I will pick something to even do LSI and other assessments. But Jack Mazzero was my favorite, if you ask transformative learning. I met him, by the way, a couple of times in Columbia. He was 90 years old, and still active professor. And then he died in 93 age, So he was one, and because I maybe met him. Carl Roger, obviously, is one, whole person. I like whole person because we coach the person, not their problems, as you know. So I want to know the person as much as possible. So those fears which are stopping her to do something, that's my interest, not what is stopping, what is that, content is, but that fear is my interest, so know the person, or because we have to coach the person, not their problems. So that's another I would mention. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Kiran Qureshi, you want to ask something? Mm-hmm.
I have a question. I don't know if this, okay. So one thing I've noticed is, so I've not been in the coaching game very, very long. Like I started like a few months ago and I'm still learning also. But what I wanted to know was, one issue that I am coaching person, not the problem. I love coaching person, not the problem. It makes for a more juicier, meatier, more interesting session, all that. One issue I have is that not everybody wants to be coached as person. Like they push back and they don't consider it even a good session if we start talking about their beliefs and values and other serious things. What do you do in such a situation? Then you go back to the problem and stick to that?
So there is no prescription, by the way, but because it all dance in the moment. But I would say, do they know why they are meeting you, and have you explained coaching, obviously, very well to them? So they are still wanted that. In real life, we do go extra, and if you know something they're asking, they're interested, they will call value. So you give them that value, frankly, if you know that. If you don't know, then you tell them, no, I don't know. And I think you are maybe looking for a consultant, or advisor or some mentor or something. So that's what you do. But I tell people, if somebody is asking you, where is the bathroom? And you know where is the
what
bathroom.
Makes you want to go to the bathroom?
Don't question them why it's important for you to go to bathroom. Tell them where it is, and so tell them, go straight, go left. There is a bathroom there. So tell them, so you don't have to, But if you don't know, then you are not the right person, obviously, to work with. So coaching, mentoring, advising, consulting, in real world, there's overlap, frankly, and I ask sometimes my clients, what was the most valuable thing today at the end of session? They that advice you give me, That's the most valuable. I don't know if that was true. They may not act upon it, by the way, also. But at the moment, they like that, It's okay, keep it, so if that's what's good for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a friend who has done a lot of research on does our professional background makes a better coach, So he's a banker in London. He did PhD on it now. So he talked to so many bankers in the world and so he found yes. Answer was yes, by the way. If you have a banking background and you're talking to a banker, it is useful. It's not useful that you give them banking knowledge, by the way. It's useful how bankers think, So maybe he knows their learning style, he knows their personalities, what shaped them, what are they looking for, what pressures they go through. So he has awareness of the environment in which they operate, That could be a useful thing, frankly, to have. I talk to a lot of academic leaders. They like, oh yeah, we like you because you are also from a university, and so that's good. They always say, I feel comfortable talking to you. It's not that, by the way, we never talk about academics to those people. It's always their own, struggles and things, but somehow they like it, so fine, yeah.
Very good, mashallah. That's wonderful. Ji Adnan, I think we are just at the.
Yeah, I was just sending beautiful red heart emojis when you just put me on the spot. So, Iftikhar Sahab, thank you very much. It was a pleasure and honor listening to you and learning from you. I wanted to just highlight a couple of things that I personally got impacted. You asked me a very reflective question. So you assume that they're stuck, right? And I've been thinking about it, and I'm now revisiting a lot of my own core beliefs around coaching. So thank you for that. And the other learning that I do also, and I'm sure there are a lot of other learnings, but talking about who are your role models, that's core of who the identity is or ideal self is. I think that was transformational for me. I'm sure there are a lot of other things. So thank you very much for being here and for gracing us with such a lot of knowledge and wisdom and your experience. And I look forward to having you with us in future sessions. For the rest of us, we do this on an every month basis. So the next session is going to be on 26th December, same time, as per Pakistan time, 11 a.m. And we'll have a guest from New Zealand, Prajesh Chandabai, who's going to talk about some interesting stuff there as well. So I hope to see you guys next month for the last session of this year. Omar, over to you.
Just one more thing. Thank you very much, Adnan, also for hosting this, and Iftikhar Saab. One takeaway for me, I think I can speak for everyone, is that for last 1 hour, the calmness and the sweetness with which we have listened to you and the words that you have used. It was without any slides, but still so engaging, and we were all there. That was my takeaway, basically. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Adnan sir. Iftikhar Saab, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Iftikhar Saab. Really pleasure listening
yeah,
to you.
thank you. Thank you. Thank
So,
you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji. We'll call it a day, and
Bye.
the recording will be available soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Umar, and thank you, Adnan. Thank you,
Thank
Iftikhar.
you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Hafiz.